Halle Berry is back in front of the camera, but this time she's behind the camera as well. Is Bruised the next Rocky or Warrior? We're going to talk about it. What is up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to my channel. I was excited about this one. It's called Bruised. It's directed by Halle Berry, and it's dropping on Netflix, I believe, November 24th. So we're going to talk about it. Let me know down below. Are you excited for this? Do you like these types of films in that sports or fighting genre? Let's do it. So Jackie Justice, played by Halle Berry, is a mixed martial arts fighter who leaves the sport in disgrace. Down on her luck and simmering with rage and regret years after the fight, she's coaxed into a brutal underground fight by her manager and boyfriend, who both manage to grab the attention of a fight league promoter who promises Jackie a life back in the octagon. But the road to redemption becomes unexpectedly personal when Manny, played by Danny Boyd Jr., the son she gave up as an infant, shows up at her doorstep. And this is directed, like I said, by Halle Berry, and it has a pretty solid supporting cast. It's a story about a fighter who's trying her best to reclaim her power both in and out of the ring, and so many people in this movie have just counted her out entirely because of the way that she went out in the first place. And just the opening few scenes, right? We get people on the street saying, "Hey, is that the person who got embarrassed in the ring? Ha ha." It's actually kind of sad to watch. The reason why it works so well is because Halle Berry in front of the camera is excellent in this film. She gives genuinely one of her better performances in years, and I don't know whether or not this is just her mindset being the director, knowing exactly what she wants from her own role. We often see these directors who star in their own film, and it always feels like they're giving a top-notch performance. Someone like Ben Affleck does this constantly, but it's because she knows exactly what she wants, and she's phenomenal. There's no way around it in this film. The story surrounding her, though, right? Within this genre, there are tropes, conventions, and cliches that are so abundant. And oftentimes, even in a movie like Warrior, something that I love, it's one of my favorite films of all time, the progression of that story is by the numbers. It all comes down to the execution. In that case, Gavin O'Connor's direction and the performances. And I believe Bruised is a movie that has the performance at the center. One or two supporting performances surrounding her. The story is what is unable to overcome those cliches. Unfortunately, Bruised was disappointing because I just wasn't as invested as the film wanted me to be. Not only is the style of the movie lacking in a way, at just the opening, there's a little bit of a montage at the beginning, and I didn't think it did a good enough job of filling in certain gaps and making this story as compelling as it needed to be. And what the film does when it's within the ring and showcasing her being able to fight, we have to buy the fact that she is a monster in the ring, like in a good way. A good monster, a happy monster, a cookie monster. I'm sorry, it's late, I'm hungry. I'm really hungry. And as good as she is in the film, you feel every bit of emotion that you need to towards her character, that empathy, just a bit of rage that comes from her taking so much from other people in her life. And at a point, it just becomes too much. And then the relationship with her son, with her trainer, with her very abusive boyfriend. She is in an abusive relationship. It is absolutely tragic to watch, really, just because of how they operate when they are together and the fact that he just keeps going. And when the son comes along a little bit through the film, it starts to throw off that balance even more so, and that begins to accumulate and things get out of hand fast. So all of those things that Halle Berry is able to convey to us as an actor, they're phenomenal. So no problem at all with her on-screen presence, other than me believing that she is the fighter that the movie wants us to believe. And I think a big part of why I couldn't necessarily buy that is because the movie doesn't do a good enough job of showcasing that to us. We really don't get that much in the ring, and when we do, it's a lot of shaky cam. The filmmaking wasn't quite there to build that intensity, and I don't know if the choreography was all there, right? So those things combine to make for a very disappointing aspect of a movie that revolves around her being an MMA fighter. And if I'm disappointed in that aspect of the movie, what should be the focus of the film, well, then the rest of the film is not going to quite get there. And again, I enjoy the relationship with her kid, and understanding the struggles of this character is something that I could absolutely get behind if the filmmaking was up to par, if it wasn't so unfocused and scattered at points, and just giving us long scenes of drawn-out dialogue, and within that dialogue, you get some great emotion, but I just wasn't as locked in as the film wanted me to be. It's a bit of a messy movie in that sense. Again, some of the fight scenes are entertaining enough, but they just weren't as compelling as, you know, other films in the genre. I don't want to keep making the comparison because clearly this is trying to be something a bit different, but unfortunately, because it doesn't execute, it falls back into those cliches. Before I give you guys my score, I want to know, what is your favorite movie in the sports fighting genre? I definitely go with Creed, Rocky, Warrior. This movie feels like those in a sense, but a very different story, of course. Halle Berry is excellent as she gives her best on-screen performance in years. The filmmaking is not quite up to par, and the story never finds the right balance because it constantly falls back on genre conventions. My score is a 48%. Again, I didn't have a bad time, right? But I wanted so much more out of the story and plot itself. I thought the young actor did a good job as her son, didn't really have to say all that much. That relationship was sweet, but the subplots that take up most of the screen time here, they're just not as engaging. All right, I've talked enough. Thank you guys. Come back. I'll see you soon.